Time for chapter 3, I think.
I thought this was chapter 7.
It's EP 7, but it's confusing, isn't it? Yeah, seriously. Not only was Yasu slow-witted, that kid also lost stuff all the time. But even so, Yasu always had this look, like someone else had taken whatever it was away. It really pissed me off. That kid just didn't know how to concentrate. If you always act in that dreamy way without thinking, it's no surprise you'll do bad work.
But it was only like that in the beginning, right? After some time, that kid started concentrating and all of that bad stuff stopped happening.
Huh, really? Well, it was all stuff that anyone should be able to do anyway. Learning to do things that everyone can do is a part of growing up. I doubt the rest of you were so clever about everything when you first started, yes? Are you kidding? If we weren't clever, we'd never been selected to work for the Ushiromiya family. Duh. We're supposed to be the elite. The fact that Yasu was young is no excuse. That's right. If Yasu is supposed to learn cleverness by growing up, then that should have been done before coming to work for the Ushiromiyas.
Come on. That kid worked really hard to balance school and work. I think you're all being too harsh.
We were selected because we made it through a harsh process, right? There's no need for us to pamper Yasu. I'm so sick of this. I don't get why someone as dull-witted as Yasu was chosen.
Being selected as an Ushiromiya family servant was an achievement that all Fukuin children respected. The older servants had achieved glory by making it through the strict selection process. Yasu was so clumsy that they all wondered why that child had been chosen. Of course, Yasu was working very hard for a child of that age. However, before long, the unsatisfied older servants started being mean to Yasu whenever they got the chance. Even after getting used to life on Rokkenjima, Yasu didn't manage to make a single friend. At least, not any human friends.
I mean, that does seem to confirm that, like, yeah, Sayo is definitely not a,
Seems like it.
Yep.
Chapter 3, Dazed and Raptured.
God, her fucking blank-ass face while she's reading is really unnerving. I get that she's just supposed to be there as a puppet to give voice to this, right? We're not supposed to take anything else from them, but still, it's fucking unnerving. So many days, and at least a couple news. Oh, I'm in this one. Oh, yes, that can sometimes happen, and always when you're busy. Perhaps a fairy is pulling pranks on you.
It's a witch pulling pranks on me. I mean, I knew I'd put it right there, and when I looked away for just a second, it had disappeared. The witch had pranked me again. I left my master key behind. Madam found out, and I got in a lot of trouble. But I always put my master key in my pocket after I use it. Why was it in a place like that? And this is the third time it's happened. The last 2 times I realized that it wasn't in my pocket and managed to find it before anyone found out. But the third time, Madam found it. I was really mad and frustrated with that witch in the red dress.
Beatrice-sama's pranks can be quite troublesome. But if you're dealing with a witch, shouldn't a ritual of some sort do the trick?
A ritual? Kumasawa-san started fishing through the kitchen cupboards, saying,
Oh, now where did that get you?
Kumasawa-san started fishing.
Like most good games, Umineko no Naku Koroni has a fishing minigame. Get ready to press the button as quickly as you can, but not too quickly, lest you break the line.
The thing she finally found and brought to me was a kite string. She stretched it out for me to see, then used a knife to cut off a 50-centimeter piece.
Try tying this to the end of the key. Then tie the other end to your pocket button or some other place that doesn't stick out. This charm represents the ritual of the spider web.
A spider web? Like the ones the evil spirits of Rokkenjima fear.
Oh, good. I'm glad you remember. It is said that the spider webs on this island are imbued with magical power, and that they can be quite effective at repelling evil. You stretch it out like this, it looks like a spider web, doesn't it? This way that spiderweb hating Beatrice won't be able to prank you anymore.
That does make sense. It really does look like a spiderweb when pulled tight. Since Kumasawa-san says so, it must have some pretty strong evil repelling power.
And we're seeing the origin of where all this stuff comes in. Kumasawa's just trying to be like, okay, maybe this will help if you tie a string on it.
Yeah, how do I help this kid and while playing along with
exactly
the thing.
Exactly.
And this also explains, I think, how Kumasawa-san is Virgilia.
Yeah.
And Beatrice's teacher and so on. Because she's the one that kind of helped bring a lot of these legends into the world and like continue to spread them, and is now going on to teach Yasu about how to get along in Rokkenjima,
right,
through using those legends and
the
so
thing
on.
Is, I don't think she means anything ill by it. I think that's just how she, like, in her own way feels like, oh, this is like a cute, kind of folksy way of pushing the stuff along. They'll grow up and figure it out eventually.
Yep. But
right.
For Yasu,
yep,
different from that perspective.
Oh.
I can just ask her to make several of these kite strings for me, and then I can tie them to everything I don't want to lose. But of course, that wouldn't be very practical. I'd have strings all over me. What about things I can't keep tied to me, like pencils and erasers?
For times like that, there's a different ritual. All you have to do is make a house for Mr. Pencil and Mr. Eraser.
Make a house?
Make sure they're always where they need to, in this place that they need to be before you leave.
Yep. You mean build a roof and a bed and stuff?
I wonder how much of this is coming from Ryukishi being a social worker and learning how to help children who have...
Maybe.
Yeah. You aren't actually building a house, you're giving them one. For example, take the knife I cut the string with. I want to go home. He's such a lonely kid. He wants to go home the moment he steps outside. So if you leave him anywhere else, he'll get lost and start crying. See, we just left Mr. Knife lying there, so he got lonely and started crying.
Poor thing. We have to get Mr. Knife home.
Oh, well, Mr. Knife's house is right here. See, his whole family of knives is waiting for him. Mama, I'm home. Welcome back. See?
Kumasawa-san returned the knife to the knife holder under the sink. Even though she had done something so ordinary, I felt slightly moved, as though the lost little knife had finished his adventure and finally returned home. Once he slid into the spot he was supposed to be in, all the knives would be together and could have a party.
Knife party! Wow! They knew exactly what I needed to have in this episode.
Then Kumasawa-san said we should give them their privacy and shut the door.
Oh, the poor things hidden by the witch must get lonely easily. So when the witch tells them she'll take them somewhere fun, they're happy to go along with her. How can you stop them from doing this?
Take them home right away.
Exactly. They're lonely, naughty kids, so they'll go with the witch if they get the chance. So you must always take them home quickly. Look at that Mr. Key you just tied to a string. He's sitting there all alone crying and asks you to put him in his home in your pocket. Aww. I'm lonely. I'm a key.
The voice of the lonely Master Key finally reached my ears.
Oh God, I can't believe I committed to this for the voice.
I hurried to pick it up, took the other end of the string and tied it to my pocket button, and put the key in my pocket.
I wonder if Yasu just has a hole in their pocket. Oh, see? I'm home. Mr. Key gets lonely so easily, so let's take him home right after we use him, okay? If you keep making little friends like this, even Beatrice-sama won't be able to prank you much longer.
Clink. When break time was over and I stood up to see what I should help with next, I felt a tug and the key ring with the master key fell to the floor. Once again, I had left the master key on the side of the sofa and forgotten it was there. The instant I stood up, the string pulled on it and it fell to the floor. Without Kumasawa-san's spiderweb charm, I would probably have left that master key lying here again. The master key left all alone would have been led away by the witch and disappeared. Oh, that was close. And once again, I heard the master key, who had almost been left on its own, cry and tell me that it wanted to go home.
Oh God, I want to go home now.
I'm sorry. Come on, let's go back home to my pocket.
Yay, I'm home!
Thank goodness. I almost got pranked by the witch again.
Key pranks, starting now. Oh, what's this? What an amusing notion, using string like that.
All of a sudden, I heard a wild, shocked voice from over my shoulder. It was a voiceless voice. A witch's voice, the kind you can't hear unless you try. Beatrice?
Whoop! Poor Lynn, that's me, my friend. You forgot about your key again, and just when I was about to tease you a bit.
It's a spiderweb charm that Kumasawa-san showed me. Apparently, it does its job well.
Indeed. I hate to admit it, but it does. I certainly wouldn't want to touch that. After all, you wouldn't want to put your finger on a razor and slide it across, would you?
Ah, that's a scary example. My finger hurts just thinking about it.
But good for you. You didn't have to get yelled at by Natsuhi for losing your key again. You should be thanking me, really.
Why?
Because I annoyed you, you learned of that ritual, correct? Thanks to that, you managed to avoid the screw-up of forgetting where you left your key once again. In other words, it's all thanks to me. Don't I deserve some gratitude?
I really don't like it, but she does have a point. Because of all the trouble Beatrice caused me, I talked to Kumasawa-san and learned the ritual from her. Even without the witch's pranking. If I didn't have that ritual, I would have gone to my next job and left the master key here. If that happened, then surely I wouldn't have been able to find the key and it would have been a big mess.
We call this punishment to make an example. By magnifying your mistakes, I've shown you what they are as a friend. Don't you see how much you've grown? It's like negging, but somehow worse.
I get the feeling that Kumasawa-san is the one I should be thanking, not you.
My, what a thankless job we witches have. Anyway,
Anyway, I win this time. Okay, I need to get back to work now.
Very well, my friend. We'll call this your victory. However, I'm bad at giving up. I'll keep watching you even more closely now until I can even the score. Prepare yourself. There are still several small items that a person like you is likely to forget. You can't attach strings to all of them.
The spiderweb ritual isn't the only one I have. I also learned the take them home ritual. I won't let you have your way anymore.
Huh. Let's see how well you actually do. Even so, that's quite the bright smile you've got there. When a witch appears, it should be time to cry, not laugh. Your break time is over. See if you can manage to do your job today without slowing down the older servants.
Sure, today is Sunday and the weather is wonderful. I'd better do my best.
Indeed, go for it with all you can manage. Oh, that's right. Sanon's been in a bad mood all morning. Sanon? Sanon? You better try and avoid eye contact with her. Also, your fortune for the day is water hazard. Make sure you take care when standing near buckets of water. This is you we're talking about, right? I'll be waiting for you to knock over a bucket and get scolded just like usual. Is that meant to be Shannon?
Thank you, Beatrice.
That'll be $12.50. Come on, working girl's gotta make some buck, right?
Back when I still couldn't see her, I simply hated this prank-loving witch. But now that I could talk with her, it felt as though she wasn't all bad. Of course, there was no need for me to be grateful to her. To the witch called Beatrice, who despises boredom, mocking the misfortune of others is like what eating food is to us. Humans and witches are different, incompatible beings. And yet, it felt as though we could become friends. Of course, she's still a witch. I mustn't get careless. And yet, not being careless is a good thing. Thanks to the tricks and rituals I use to keep her at bay, I'm able to concentrate. That could hardly be a bad thing. Those things will be useful for my job and my life, even when I don't have to worry about the witch's pranks. I see, so this witch called Beatrice really is like a demon. Apparently, it's possible to build up a friendship even while speaking hostilely to each other.
Oh no! Yasu has a type.
I don't know if they've invented tsunderes yet.
I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
Ever since then, there was an incredible change in that kid. Because of all the rituals?
That's right. That child was quite faithful when it came to obeying rules, and flawlessly followed all the rituals I taught.
You mean by attaching strings to everything? And by doing that going home thing all the time? Yes, that kid would sometimes say it out loud. It was really cute, like watching someone play house with a bunch of tools. Just like a kid. But they were a kid, right?
With adults, you can sometimes say something one way and all of them will understand. However, there really are many different types of kids, and you need many different ways to teach them things. If you could find just the right way, they learn quite easily.
Some kids learn better when they're punished, and some learn better when they're praised.
I used to scare a neighborhood kid and tell them that a fairy would take his things if he didn't keep good track of them. This was the same, except the fairy became a witch.
Still, doesn't that sound like fate? After all, you knew this kid was Beatrice's child, didn't you?
Oh, I didn't know you two were into fate. I try to stay away from gotcha games nowadays.
We love fate because of all the gender swaps.
Imagining Furfur and Zep are just trading genders. Their only rule is that they can't be the same gender, right? They just open up, start the morning, look through the dresser drawer full of genders, and like, oh, it's my turn with that one. Yes, I did know.
It must have been strange to tell Beatrice's child that the witch Beatrice would play pranks on you, unless you put your stuff away neatly.
When the child came and told me that a witch was stealing things to bully pranks, it made me think. I took it as a sign the late Beatrice-sama had become a witch and was coming to teach her child to keep track of things. That's why I thought this was the best way to teach that child.
That kid started out with a bad reputation for forgetting and losing things, but got a lot more cheery after overcoming those bad habits.
By surpassing weaknesses, those weaknesses become strengths. And that is how people gain confidence and grow up. Those small spurts of growth made me feel as though this was my own grandchild. Thank you, Genji-sama.
Good work with the big cleanup today. We never know when an important guest might come and borrow one of the rarely used rooms. It is important that you do not slack off in your cleaning.
Of course, all of us are fully aware of this fact.
I hope that is the case. When I looked around, I found this. Whose is it?
Genji took a master key ring out of his pocket. Apparently, someone had dropped their master key. All of the servants swung around to look at me, the usual offender.
Come on, Yasu, again?
You shouldn't be so quick to judge.
I have mine, of course. There's no way I'd drop something that important. And the rest of you?
I have mine.
Got it. So it was you, Yasu. Do you still not get it even after that scolding Madam gave you? You're just so...
Normally, I would cower and apologize under their glares, whether I was guilty or not. However, I've changed. So I proudly held up the key with the string still attached.
Huh. A device to keep yourself from dropping it. A commendable precaution.
Genji-sama's face was as expressionless as ever. However, those were unmistakably words of praise. That's right, you won't drop them anymore. After all, you have your ritual now. That's right. I nodded proudly, a huge smile on my face. The proud experience of that day, of that moment, would be engraved into an unforgettable page in the memory of my young life. So, whose key did Genji find? There was only one servant who hadn't raised their key, as she muttered, "It has to be Yasu's key, not mine,"
Oh, it has to be Yasu's key, not mine.
and fished in her pocket. Her face went pale.
You mustn't slack off, even when doing your everyday tasks. But everyone makes mistakes from time to time. I will not press the point, but blaming your teammate instead of reflecting on your own actions is not something I would consider praiseworthy.
My apologies.
The older servant turned red and hung her head. Behind her, though no one else could see it, was the witch.
My friend will not make the same mistake again. After all, even though I've always got my eyes on this kid, I can never find a chance to try anything. It's a shame, though. This girl here has lost her key. I should have tried pranking her long ago.
Please don't prank people other than me. Huh? Did you say something? No, nothing. I tried not to feel vindictive, but after being called dull-witted for so long, I was finally able to hold my head up high. On that day, for the first time, I truly felt as though I'd gotten used to life as a servant of the Ushiromiya family. When people compliment you, it feels like they've acknowledged you.
Whoop! Wow, that's where that led? All right, hey, what's up, everyone? It's very important. People can't grow without it.
And what happens when people grow?
At first, it becomes possible for them to find some leeway. Jobs that used to make them scared, that made them worry about whether they were doing the things the right way or not, can be carried out with confidence.
That's right. Once things become easy, that gives you some latitude. And what happens next?
It gives you a chance to enjoy your time more. As Genji might say, it gives you time to relax your mind.
If you're tense all the time, that just wears you out. It's good to take it easy for a bit if you can.
Umineko no Nakukoro ni really said log off and touch grass, fuckers.
You mean you learn so much that you can start slacking off on the job?
It sounds bad when you put it that way. However, there's nothing wrong with cleverly carrying out your tasks quickly and using your free time to enjoy yourself. Times like that are what enriches a human's life.
Come to think of it, Gota plays crosswords a lot between jobs. He also invents dishes with the leftover ingredients.
Playing a bit and refreshing yourself can be a good for your efficiency. You might say that inventing dishes combines work and play. Even Genji slacks off when no one is looking. He'll watch TV or swipe some of the master's drink. And he reads complicated books.
Even Genji?
In short, it's all about cleverly using the gaps between jobs to play. If it goes too far, it can turn to laziness. However, people only become mature when they learn to balance work with pleasure. Simply put, if all you care about is work all the time, you're not fully mature.
Ryukishio7 says, slack off at work. It's your right as a human.
Yes, that is exactly.
I agree with this.
Yes.
So, that kid learned how to play between jobs? It's hard to imagine that overly serious kid slacking off at work.
It started with learning how to interact with people. That kid formed a relationship with Kumasawa, the person who was always kind, and started borrowing books from her and talking together about them. Book club!
Even I had friends at school, but because of my work, there was no chance to deepen our friendship. Jessica was always kind and modest, but there was Natsuhi's stern order to think of, so we couldn't play together very much. So at that time, Kumasawa, the one who was always as kind as a mother to me, was the person I felt closest to.
I think that explains the nature of Virgilia, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Virgilia is always like a kind of motherly character.
Yep.
Kumasawa was old enough to have grandchildren. They couldn't exactly run around and play together. You developed an interest in Kumasawa's hobby, right?
And what's Kumasawa's hobby?
Books. Literally just books. Might be hard to believe, but Kumasawa was a huge mystery novel fan.
So, the kid wanted to find out what sorts of books they were and started reading them?
That's right. The nice thing about mystery novels is that you can talk about them while you read them. Even Kumasawa, who already knew the answer, must have enjoyed listening and hearing what sorts of theories a young intellect could create.
Yeah. Relatable.
I mean, if you've hung around the streams, like, you know, we're pretty much only, like, I've started streaming more mystery games almost as a direct result of us playing Umineko and just having the desire for more of that kind of thing.
Turns out mystery is great.
Yeah, we're playing through the new Somnium Files game right now, and it's been really fun bouncing things off of chat as we go through. There's that extra level of puzzle to like mysteries that you don't get from other forms of literature, and I think that's appreciating that has been really nice. I think learning to come to that.
Of course, I didn't start right away with the complicated books Kumasawa read. First, I asked for her recommendations and got books from the school library. I would even bring them into the servant room and read a bit during every break. Every time a new theory popped into my head, I told Kumasawa about it, and she, who already knew the answer, would nod at my theory and grin. That was a lot of fun for me.
I think this is starting to explain how the message bottle came to be. The message bottle would have been Yasu's first attempt at writing a mystery.
Oh my god!
They were trying to come up with a new mystery to share, maybe with Kumasawa. And the fact that it happened to be found, but also the island exploded on the same day, that might have been entirely coincidental.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's absolutely something like that.
Yeah,
holy shit.
I think that's probably what the first message bottle is. We still don't know what the second bottle is. I maintain that we haven't been told what's in it yet. But the game wants us to believe it's the second game board, but I don't know if I buy that just yet, so.
Are you going to take a bath? Bath time's almost over. Yeah, just a bit more. Another one of the Indian figures just disappeared. You become a total mystery nut. If you get too excited reading, you won't be able to sleep again. According to Kumasawa-san, the culprit has already appeared, but I don't have a clue who it is. What's that book called? It's by Agatha Christie, and then there were none. It's really interesting. Almost like it's a crime happening on Rokkenjima.
We have that one's been referenced explicitly at least once before, and from what I know about it, at least the plot of one of the game boards is directly a reference to the plot of And Then There Were None.
That's a really famous mystery novel, isn't it? Wasn't that one a perfect crime? At least until the culprit confesses to the truth in a message bottle at the end?
Is that even why it's in a message bottle in the first place? Are you kidding me? Wow. Oh, wow.
That was one of those things that I forgot about that book until this jogged my memory again when we were going back through stuff, and I was like, wait a second.
Yep. God.
An incredible book. Shh. I'm enjoying myself, so don't spoil me. Go take a bath now. I'll go by myself later. Okay. See you later then. Don't forget to take a bath, okay?
Holding a change of clothes, Shannon smiled amusedly as she left the room.
I probably won't be able to read the whole thing tonight. Even though I know that, I just keep turning the pages, unable to find a good place to stop. My new joy, the mystery genre, the mental game of thinking and theorizing, and also talking about it with Kumasawa-san. All of that left me enraptured.
Yoink! What's up, nerd? Seem you become a complete bookworm. Well, if you do stay up and get sleepy, that just makes my job easier.
We can't have that. I'd better find a place to stop soon.
In the ancient times I was born in, pleasures such as mystery novels didn't exist yet. I've been reading over your shoulder, and this truly is a captivating read.
Beato, who do you think is the culprit?
And then there were none?
Yeah. Who is this UN Owen, I wonder?
Oh, well, it's pretty easy. You and Owen was her.
Yeah?
I remember the day I found out that that's what that song is named after, and I'm like, what? What does that have to do with Flandre?
The culprit who lured...
Oh, the culprit who lured the victims to the island, of course.
There are no more than 10 people on this island, and UN Owen doesn't exist.
Someone must have stranded them on the island and waited somewhere far away for them to die of starvation.
No, that's not right. Here she is on the island. They're one of the 10 people. I just don't know who.
How do you know that there are only 10 people on the island?
That's just how it is. Since if you doubt that, you're stuck. Or it's just a standard rule of the mystery genre, or...
The culprit owns the island, correct? They may be hiding in some hidden room. Or perhaps they're like me. They may be a 1,000-year-old witch. No, if they went to such lengths to kill a mere 10 people, they couldn't be 1,000 years old. 495 years old at best, I'd say. Age is like a power level for a witch. Huh. I think this is, okay, this might be. Closed rooms do appear a lot in mystery novels, and books often use the phrase, it could only conceivably have been done with magic. And here I am with a witch. Oh. God damn, I knew it.
Here I am with a witch right before my eyes.
Oh my god, you sound like me for a moment.
I know, it's been spreading. It's a complicated feeling.
Very entertaining, these closed room murders. Once you read the answer, it becomes a tale of humans, or a mystery novel. But if you take out the part that reveals the answer, it just becomes a tale of witches, or a fantasy novel.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
That is a fascinating way to look at it, isn't it? That's a really fascinating way to look at it.
So there's only a tiny difference between human novels and fantasy novels.
If a trick exists, it becomes a human novel. If there isn't one, it's a witch novel. Simply take out the last few pages of that book you're reading. And you might think of Lady UN Owen as a witch on the same level as myself.
That might be surprisingly wise, coming from you.
Wow, burn.
So the culprit of an answerless detective novel is a witch.
All of the dark places in this world belong to us witches. So I could reign as the culprit for all detective novels across the world.
Except if you reason it out right and find the true answer, then the witch is done for.
These detective novels can be quite intriguing, it seems. Looks to be a truly entertaining thinking game.
That's right. This is a thinking game.
A theme, if you will.
Indeed. You fight against the book, make a theory, and then compete against friends who have also read the book.
High score, right?
I could probably fight at least 5 books.
At once?
Yeah, I think 10 would probably win, though.
In a fight, right? Perhaps, but it's also a fight between humans and witches. Will you allow or deny for the magic of my closed room murders? Call it a chess match of a mystery.
So it isn't a book I'm reading, but a challenge against you.
Indeed. As Shannon said a short while ago, this story apparently has the truth revealed by a message bottle at the end. So if you can't expose the truth in detail before that point, you lose. After all, the message bottle just happened to drift somewhere that it could be seen. If it got smashed and sank before anyone saw it, it would be a perfect crime. Or in other words, a witch's crime that's impossible for humans.
That's a fun way to look at it. A fight between me and the witch. Yeah, I really like thinking of it that way.
Ching! Starting now and until you finish reading, I am Lady Owen, the 495-year-old witch. Can you see through my deserted island murder tricks?
I do have one theory.
Oh, spoilers. Spoilers for Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None.
You want to play with me, don't you? I've been reading books so much, you've gotten lonely.
That too! You won't even let me play Mario Kart anymore.
Incidentally, the game Beato and I played around And Then There Were None ended with my defeat. In the end, I wasn't able to build a satisfying theory, and I had to learn the truth from the message bottle. Luckily, it did manage to drift into human hands. If it had sunk to the bottom of the ocean, as Beato had suggested, I would have had no way of knowing the truth.
Speaking of which, I wonder if what we're reading right now is the second message bottle.
Maybe.
Someone seeing this and the first game board could probably put together everything. I would think, but...
In other words, I was forced to acknowledge Yuen Owen as a witch. Mystery? I once thought it was just a genre for novels. To think that it can so easily become a fight between witches and humans, truth and fantasy. I was instantly enraptured by this new game. As the months passed by, I read through all of the mystery novels in the school library, and started to read mystery novels for adults. I discussed them with Kumasawa.
I remember, like, reading books like that as a kid, where, like mysteries for children are there were ones that are structured very differently.
Mhm.
Like, did you ever read like the Encyclopedia Brown ones or like
Absolutely.
the similar stuff where they would be structured like, here's the setup and the puzzle, and then like the answer would be put later, like it was a answer sheet.
Mhm.
Like there would be a clear break being like, okay, here's the part where you try to figure it out,
Mhm.
right? And like, oh, that's just priming you for the rest of the genre. Because like an adult novel isn't going to have that warning to you. It's going to be like just expecting you to do it as you go along.
Come to think of it, I'm surprised I didn't turn into a mystery novel liker, because I fucking loved those books when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think it's because there's a difference between... There is a big difference between the simple kind of game-like nature of mysteries you read as a kid and then what are essentially a genre of thriller novel.
Mm.
Like, having worked in a bookstore for long enough, like a lot of what is mystery now is kind of caught up in also being a thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's cozy mysteries, which are like more like, oh, let's make a little comfy cutesy thing about murder. Like, and they still do have the element of like discover the murder and stuff for it, but there are other elements of literary genre to it beyond just here is a cool brain teaser.
Mm-hmm.
And that can kind of make it easy to get lost in the sauce, as it were.
Mm. I discussed them with Kumasawa. I discussed them with Shannon. I played my game of theory chess, the fight between witches and the truth. Those days were so much fun. Oh, I am one yet many. Here's to the fun game of the mind that enraptured me.
Woo! Want to do another one?
Yeah.
I think this episode absolutely needs another one. One of our commenters, by the way, on one of the previous videos mentioned that they hoped we were happy with the answers we've seen so far. I remember like some of our commenters were talking about how some of the answers frustrated some people during the original.
Mm.
And I don't feel that way so far. Like, I feel like the answer arcs have been exactly what they needed to be.
Mm.
How about you? How do you have any feelings on it so far?
I'm just still riding the hype of how often we've been close to right.
Yeah,
so I
but-
can't feel bad about it.
Well, I mean, like I still feel like you could feel bad about it. Like, this isn't solving any of the murders, but like that's not the point,
Mm-hmm.
right? The murders are the fun game left for the exercise left for the reader.
It's made it very clear all along that the point was not to solve those ones.
Right.
So,
I mean, unless you do though, it'll still be a witch. That's the game. That's the game itself. I don't know. I feel very satisfied so far.
me too.
I think it would be hard to feel dissatisfied with it. You know what I mean?
I can imagine feeling that way if you had really lasered in on a specific wrong theory and like, built this huge case around it, and that what you expected was a story that was very different than the story that Ryukishi is actually trying to tell.
True.
I could imagine if that was what was going on, that someone would get unsatisfied.
But also,
thankfully,
like,
that's not us.
yeah. And I also feel like the game has done a very good job of continually priming you at different points to be like, here's what to expect, here's what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But, yeah, I guess I could see how that would be. Or if it was something silly like, oh, everything is a simulation.
You know, what if Sword Art Online theory had been real? What if? Oh my god. I actually would have been mad happy with that.
Chapter 4, New Days. The months and years slid by. In my new, more colorful life, I smiled at the spring sunshine peeking through the trees, gazed up at the column of summer clouds, enjoyed the piles of fallen leaves in autumn, and played in the winter snow the few times it did fall.
Oh, your many-colored days, huh?
As these days passed one after another, there was a considerable change to my environment. The servants coming from the Fukuin house had switched. There weren't specific grades like in school, so there was no rule saying how long a servant could work before quitting. Each servant made their own decision about when they would graduate from Rokkenjima. Some of those who couldn't stand the environment would quit in as little as 3 days. After all, life on Rokkenjima was strict. It was also strict in the Fukuin house, of course, but there were a lot of Rokkenjima-only rules, and Natsuhi, the one who supervised the servants, was also very authoritarian. It was probably easy to feel trapped. That trapped feeling and the money sat on opposite sides of the scale that they used to decide the time of their graduation. And sometimes, someone from the Ushiromiya family would use their influence to secure someone a new job, encouraging them to spread their wings and start a new life. The cycle usually lasted 2 or 3 years. No one decided this, but it was one of the goals most servants shot for, an unspoken rule. However, I was an exception to that rule. I continued to go to school on Nijima while still living as a servant. That year, all of the Fukuin house servants quit at once. It wasn't at all rare for friends to quit at the same time as each other. All of my fellow servants from the Fukuin house graduated from the island at once, leaving only me behind. Of course, I wasn't on particularly good terms with them. On the contrary, it was annoying to be treated like a kid and called Yasu all the time, though some new servants had come after me. The older ones had already gotten them believing that Yasu loses things all the time. So it wasn't really any more pleasant to have new comrades.
Yeah, but by this point, Yasu's been working on it for a while.
Those unpleasant older servants, as well as the ones who started at the same time or after I did, all quit at once. The Ushiromiya family made no effort to stop them from leaving. Adult servants were easier to handle in the first place. The Fukuin house servants were only accepted so that they could be trained. And so, all of the servants besides me left, and no one tried to stop them.
Why would they try to stop them? Later, Yasu. Don't go losing stuff again, alright?
I don't lose things anymore.
Later, nerd. Make sure you listen to what Madam says. Don't go troubling the next group of servants, okay? You know, it's still a mystery. Why was Yasu recommended for this job? It's even more surprising that Madam let Yasu stay this long. Must have taken some guts not to give up and run away. Keep it up, Yasu.
I hate being called Yasu. At the very end, I finally said the one thing I'd always wanted to say to them. However, they basically ignored me and just picked up their things and left. I guess you never got a chance to become friends with them. I didn't even want to. Yeah, I'm sure they feel the same way, so you're even. Let's just forget about those people. They no longer have anything to do with us. So there's no reason to think about them. Yeah, you're right. I felt just a bit disappointed. I never got a chance to prove to them that I could take care of myself. It's hard for people to throw off their first impressions. That's just how it is. No matter how wonderful you grow, those people would have probably always called you Yasu and made fun of you. There's no reason for you to want their admiration. Yes. Yeah, you're right, Shannon. I'll completely forget about those people.
You sure about that, Yasu? Seems like they live rent-free in your mind still.
Good, you have two great friends, Kumasawa-san and me. And if you want to prove that you can take care of yourself, prove it to the new servants who are coming. So, we've got explicit confirmation now that Shannon's not real, right?
Right.
Because all the Fukuin house servants left, other than
Yasu, and Shannon is still here. Yep. So, yeah, this
what?
is
I wonder what this person prefers to be called, because it's not Yasu, but we don't know yet.
right. So we're still we're using Yasu instead of Sayo Cannon, but huh. I think you know what? I think they prefer to be called Shannon.
Maybe.
I mean, that might be it.
That might be it. Shannon was exactly right. Ever since that day when I held the key with the spiderweb charm up high, I'd regained my confidence and pride. I am now the most experienced Fukuin servant. The new servants who come will probably still be older than me, but I need to teach them the ropes as the more experienced servant. Genji-sama even told me to lead the newer servants as a senpai.
You know what? I am now convinced that this might be what the second message bottle is. Because a lot of the characters and demons and stuff that get extrapolated and added are based on characters we learn about in here. Like the stakes coming out and being based on the maids that that Yasu worked with. And also kind of comes around to Genji and Kumasawa being given more demonic counterparts. Just a thought.
Okay, I'll give it my all. That's the right attitude. Let's give it our all together. Yeah.
My name is Osne. Pleased to meet you. My name is Belne. Pleased to meet you. Are they Asmo and Belphegor?
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. The same earlier when you asked about Sanon, I just realized that's Satan.
That's Satan. Yep. Yep, that's Beelzebub. And there's
Asmodeus.
There's Asmodeus.
The newly arrived servants looked a bit superficial.
Wow, rude.
When I first joined the Ushiromiya family, I was incredibly nervous.
Also, notice that they gave us specifically they've got a new character at the end of their names.
Isn't that the same one?
As On? Is that the same one, just pronounced differently?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know kanji.
Yeah, okay.
So I could be misremembering this, but I feel like we've seen that specific kanji before.
Someone in the comments will let us know,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
When I first joined the Ushiromiya family, I was incredibly nervous. However, I couldn't see any trace of that nervousness on these girls. That's right. Usually kids with good grades and behavior were selected. How are they selected? Who did it? The board of directors came and interviewed them, and they were judged on other things like their everyday conduct. So, as long as they acted like good kids in front of the adults, they could pass? Well, there were times that they passed because the adults watching them decided they would do fine. All of the children who came from the Fukuin house were highly individualistic. They polished that attitude while they worked as servants, and eventually grew to be servants who would not shame the Ushiromiya family. However, encouraging this behavior was the role of the more experienced servants. Since I was the only one with experience, it was my responsibility to guide them. What were the new kids like? They were the elite, of course, of irreproachable conduct. I think they were like that when Madame and Genji-sama were around. However, when their superiors weren't around, well, they didn't take things quite as seriously. Azne-san, make sure that you put your tools on the cart when you're done using them.
Yeah, huh? Sure, sorry.
I also have to be alert as a more experienced servant. And Belne-san, you shouldn't set your key down in a place like that. You'll lose it.
I'm not gonna lose it. I never forget where I put things.
When I first arrived here, the older servants would often tell me off just as I had done now. They would probably have been mean and obnoxious about it. I had hated that, so I tried to be more gentle when admonishing them, but they wouldn't take me seriously. Listen up. You know there's a witch living in the mansion, don't you?
Oh, Beatrice. That sounded just like him. Don't tell me you believe in that too, Shannon-chan.
Okay, so we got someone addressing Shannon.
I think by this point, maybe Yasu has started going by Shannon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's going on here.
I think by this point, at this point, Yasu has begun transitioning. There's a witch, or yeah, Shannon is what Yasu has always wanted to be called.
Yeah, the ideal self.
Yep.
Who's
God, this is the most.
along.
Why does every game we pick wind up being trans? I know it's a fucking meme at this point, but god damn it. That sounded just like him. Oh,
Yeah.
they're mimicking Kinzo.
Yeah.
I see.
Don't tell me you believe in that too, Shannon-chan.
Yes, she really exists. If you leave things lying around, the witch will prank you and hide them. It's true, I've gotten into trouble many times because of it.
A witch hiding things? That's totally impossible. After all, there's no way witches could exist. There's no way they could exist. Witches. I thought they were just pranks. No, it was just easier to think of it that way.
Do you think the witch Beatrice actually existed?
I don't believe it. I don't know if it was Beatrice, but I do think that something inhuman really did exist in that mansion.
Do you think there's a chance that this non-human thing was Beatrice?
Ridiculous. I wish I could say it was ridiculous. That must have been a prank of Yasu's. No, not a prank. Revenge. I did think that at first, but
Did something happen that couldn't be explained away as a prank?
it was persistent and creepy.
What kinds of things happened specifically?
Things I set down would disappear as soon as I looked away for a second. Didn't Yasu just hide them? Well, I thought so at first. It's only natural to think that. But I started getting this feeling that something wasn't right. I kept thinking, could such a timid kid really get away with something so obnoxious?
Can you tell us what happened?
When my keyring disappeared, it was easy to think that Yasu snatched it away when I wasn't looking. But when a single key disappeared off my keyring and reappeared somewhere completely different, I couldn't think of it that way. Maybe Yasu just pulled that one key off while you weren't looking? Is that even possible, practically speaking? Hiding the whole ring is one thing, but if you really think about it, taking a single key off the ring isn't that easy. The keys would clatter together. I was standing right next to them, just facing the other way, you get it? Took your time removing a key when I was that close. Even an idiot like me would have noticed. But a single key just vanished without a sound. At that moment, I finally realized. This wasn't Yasu trying to get back at me, it was something worse.
I mean, it was Yasu just taking the one key off of their ring, swapping the ring. Like, I mean, but I also get how if you don't think through that, yeah.
And where did you find this disappearing key?
It was in my locker. Well, you could be pretty absent-minded, Belne. Are you sure you didn't just take that key off and put it in your locker? Why would I take that key off the ring? Have you ever taken off a key off or put a key on your key ring, Asne? I tried doing it myself. It's really stiff. Never go to all that trouble. There'd be no point. Am I a sleepwalker or something? How could I not remember something I've done? Maybe stupid, but I'm not that stupid. I don't forget about things I do that easily. And anyway, I know I had my key with me when I entered the room. Otherwise, how could I have unlocked the door? Okay then. Yasu, careful not to make any sound, slip the key off and hid it in your locker. That has to be it. That's what I thought at first. I jumped at Yasu, telling the kid not to mess with me. But even as I said it, I realized, is there something completely wrong here? After all, on that day we were cleaning that room with Yasu the whole time, right? It wouldn't have been time for Yasu to noisily remove a key. It was impossible for Yasu. In fact, it should have been impossible for anyone. Maybe the ring was missing a master key when you got it. I already told you. The key really was there in the beginning. I was the one who unlocked that room. So it must have been there. And then I went to the room. And stupid, since I hate having the keys clattering around, I placed the ring on the bed. When we finished cleaning, I picked up the ring, tried to lock the door, and it was gone. I turned my back on the ring, but it was right next to me the whole time. Someone tried to pull a prank by removing just one key. I would have heard the clinking. And yet just the key for that room vanished and appeared again in my locker. Alright, let's say that Yasu managed to sneak it away. It's easier to think of it that way, but still. How could Yasu put it in my locker? Yasu and I were together the whole time, right? When I started yelling about it being gone and ran all over the place looking for it, Yasu was with me until the moment I found it in my locker, you get it? I'm telling you, it's impossible. Even as I jumped at Yasu, I began to feel it. I mean, Yasu's eyes seemed to be saying it silently. According to Yasu, the reason things go missing all the time wasn't because Yasu was forgetful, as everyone said, but actually, it was because impossible things would suddenly happen, just like they had to me. And
Yasu was with you the whole time, so there was no chance for Yasu to put the key in the locker? Did other strange things like that happen?
yeah, they did. Afterwards, other things happened, and not just things disappearing. Over and over. Of course, I started getting nervous and made sure not to put things down in places like that, but that didn't help. At first, I was angry at Yasu, but at some point I began to realize that I was mistaken. One time, a key even disappeared from a ring that I left in my pocket. And then I realized, these weren't Yasu's pranks. The same thing that happened to Yasu was now happening to me. Oh no, calm down a bit. I think some of those were Yasu's fault, and others were just you being clumsy. Sure, the mansion's always dark and eerie, and it does feel like the sort of place you'd find a curse. I'm sure that's what made you scared like that. You saw it too, though, didn't you? Remember that vanishing white shadow we saw in the VIP room on that rainy day? Yeah, I saw it, but it couldn't have just been Madame or Milady wearing something white? What do you mean, something white? Have you ever seen either of them wearing something like that? Besides, that VIP room is always locked. They don't have the keys to it. That would have been some kind of ghost. The silhouette of the witch. Wearing something white, huh? Like our narrator?
I was thinking wearing something white, like a bed sheet. Someone's just hiding under the bed wrapped in a bed sheet, and that's what makes the rustling sound as they flee the room.
Yeah, totes. So basically, Belne started acting like this. Totally scared. I got more street smarts than her, though, so the more scared she was, the more I thought that witches were stupid and couldn't exist. Still had to be careful about what I said. I mean, I realized this wasn't something I should talk about carelessly. All ghost stories and curses sound stupid to outsiders, but to the people who believe in them, it's absolutely not a joking matter. It really was no joke. Asne didn't believe a word of what I said, so I eventually stopped telling her about it and confessed to Yasu instead. I told Yasu I thought you were the culprit, but it shouldn't have been you. It couldn't have been you. And that said that something strange was happening to me.
And what was that kid's answer?
Yasu said the same thing that had happened many times already, but no one else believed any of it. In the first place, the older servants always made fun of Yasu, but that kid clearly wasn't as clumsy or stupid as they said. I hated having a younger person tell me what to do, so I always resisted, but Yasu always got our work done flawlessly. I always thought it was strange that people made fun of Yasu for losing things. I was sure then, it existed. Some strange inhuman thing existed in this mansion.
And that thing was the witch, Beatrice?
That's what you want to call it, I'll believe it. Anyway, something that couldn't be explained away by human actions definitely existed there. People who didn't understand kept calling Yasu and me forgetful. They didn't get it. They just didn't get it. Still, it did freak you out for a while, but then you got a lot better. After that, all that fuss about you losing things went away, right? Must have been just your imagination all the time. You're wrong. I talked to Yasu, to Shannon, to Kumasawa-san, and the others about it. Either Shannon is the name Yasu goes by now, Or at this time, an actual servant named Shannon also came on the island. That wouldn't seem to fit, but it's possible.
I'm still on board with the same theory. I think this is just a verbal sleight of hand.
Yeah, but it's getting a little bit more egregious now. It was up until the point where they switched servants, and now it's getting pretty egregious where the other characters are actually addressing Shannon by name.
I still don't find it egregious at all. Everyone's here in this scene with Shannon there as well, and so on.
Oh, you're right. This is taking place on the stage and not in the act. But even in the place they were talking to Shannon. Even when they were in scenes where we were in Rokkenjima.
Yeah.
And remember, we're theater going now, so that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't see any problem with them referring to Shannon if that means Yasu.
Right, if that's what Yasu's going by
and
now.
then the only problem is this line here, which says it twice, but that could just be verbal sleight of hand,
because
because we're in the stage.
Makes sense. Okay.
So,
No, you're right.
I'm still all aboard my same theory.
The old servants all made sure to respect her. They said I'd been cursed because I'd been stupidly gone around saying that Beatrice didn't exist. So I reformed. Yasu taught me how to give offerings to the doll in the VIP room. I asked Genji-sama for permission and prayed at the shrine by the sea. And then it all stopped, all at once. You were okay, Asne, since you stopped making fun of the witch partway through, but if you cluelessly gone on making fun of her, you surely have been cursed next. I guarantee it, you definitely would have been cursed. I guess even I was creeped out by you too. I never said it out loud, but you just don't get it. You really don't. So I made sure to teach all the newer servants well. A witch called Beatrice-sama lives in this mansion. If you make fun of her, you really will be cursed. Belne? When things disappeared, that was a sign the witch was close by and watching us. You said it was a prank or that witches couldn't exist, you'd be cursed even more. It was like that for both Yasu and me. When the key disappeared, that was a sign the witch had appeared.
Belne-san carelessly tossed her keyring on the bed again, humming as she started to clean.
Really? We're doing the fucking techno for this scene? What, is this Golden Slaughterer? It's one of the ZTS ones.
No matter how much I warn her, she doesn't change her ways. She's always making fun of me and calling me Yasu, so she won't listen to what I tell her. Why won't she listen to what I say? You mustn't leave things lying carelessly about. If you lower your guard, the witch will prank you.
Ow! Gah! That one wasn't one of my portals. That was actually just a hole in the floor. Fuck! Someone should take a look at that. Anyway, look at that delicious key ring.
Stop it, please. That's Belne-san's key. Keep your pranking to me alone. Let the others be.
With how cautious you've grown, you're no fun anymore. Just kidding. Still, how unpleasant these people are, refusing to listen to my friend's kindly advice. Any insult to my friend I take as an insult to myself.
Are you planning to steal Belne-san's key? Please, don't do it. She'll think I hid it again.
She thinks my magic is naught but the scheme of a child like you? Very well then. Let's just show her something that would be impossible for a human. Let's show her my magic, alright? Foolish Belne, I'll make you regret not listening to my friend's advice. This flimsy body is not enough. I'm borrowing yours. It's been too long since I've shown you real magic. Let my body return to the land of the living for just a moment. Yeah, exactly. So, there we go. That's
furniture can only do what you could do yourself.
Yep.
Huh? Ah. A shiver ran up my whole body like an electric shock. From that moment onwards, I couldn't move any part of my body by my own will. Like a moment of shock after a blackout, I could do nothing but accept the fact that I had lost control over myself. All of the cells throughout my body felt tingly. It felt as though my body had been transformed into someone else's. I realized that the witch Beatrice was using my body as a vessel to revive for a short period of time.
God, I wish that were me. Wow, this really is the most fucking trans episode, huh? Huh, very nice. That ticklish feeling of the air on my skin. Having a body is simply wonderful.
What are you trying to do? Please don't do anything mean. This time, everything was backwards. my words were spoken inside my heart, and the witch's voice was coming out of my mouth.
Yo, what up, nerd? Fear not. I'll give your body back soon enough. I just need to teach her a lesson with a little prank, alright? I won't do anything foolish that might earn you your suspicion. Come and try to remember. Where have you been sleeping?
Come try to remember.
Everything went completely white, and my mind stopped. Once again, that tingling sensation slid up my body. I could feel it all gather in the fingers of both of my hands and come out the tips of my fingers. It was an unfathomable, indescribable, unknown sensation. My head went blank and I couldn't think at all. I could do nothing but abandon my soul to the sensation. I finally understood. This is what it's like to use magic.
Is this Patchwork Chimera? I think this one's Patchwork Chimera. It's one of the tracks from the second half of the game. Love it though.
Come, try to remember. Where have you been sleeping?
My finger was moved like a puppet's and danced around as though I was conducting music. I never knew that having my body move without my control could be so exciting. I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah.
When Beato lifted my finger as if a string was attached to it,
Oh, the puppet fetishists out here being like, yeah, I wish that was me.
the key ring lying on the bed stood on end. Belne-san didn't notice. Neither did Azne-san. They were fully occupied by their happy chat as they cleaned the room. I doubt that either of them would have dreamed that a witch was right behind them, readying herself to use magic. They probably couldn't even imagine the key ring doing a little dance right behind their backs. It was like a cartoon fairy tale I'd seen once as a kid. The happy way the keys danced and spun made it look as though they had a will of their own. I could feel the fun of making those keys dance with my fingers wash over me. Yes, this is pleasure. As I powerlessly watched the witch control me, I couldn't help but surrender myself to this new joy called magic.
Whoops, that won't do. The whole ring disappears, my friend will be suspected again, huh? All we need... You just need the key to this room to disappear. I'll take that one.
Beato controlled my fingers, controlling the magic, and thereby controlling the keys. The key ring slumped down on the bed, and then just the mansion's master key stood on end.
Well now, what should I do with this? Merely erasing it would be quite boring. So, why don't I throw it in her locker? I'll get my friend who's working here with her the whole time a splendid alibi. Come and try to remember. Where have you been sleeping? Yeah, it was a warm, dark place, huh? Inside of Belne's locker.
When Beato snapped her fingers, the key burst and became a gold butterfly. A gold butterfly? I see, it's gold because she's the golden witch who gave the master all of his gold. And butterflies are scared of spider webs. So it's a gold butterfly. The minions of the witch Beatrice are gold butterflies.
And that's where that starts, huh?
Sure is.
See, like, yeah, everything that's important for developing the mythos of the subsequent game boards is contained in here.
After flitting into the air, it burst into a shower of gold sparks and disappeared. And then, the vanished key was in Belne-san's locker. Though it was far away, in a changing room locker, I could tell exactly how it had happened. It wasn't by sight or by touch. It was by some other sense inside my heart, which couldn't be explained by the five senses. A completely new sensation that I'd never felt before.
It's called shoplifting.
It was the completely alien concept called magic.
Huh?
A completely unknown pleasure that left me in a trance. They should name an album after that.
What? Trance?
Unknown Pleasures.
Is that the name of an album?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
That's enough, my friend. I'll give this body back to you. Whoop!
Mm.
And there goes the fem power. Later, nerd! Saved a world.
It felt as though I had been spinning through space until gravity came back and threw me to the ground. Like when you're having a great dream, but you wake up suddenly, and all you remember about the dream was that it was fun. That sort of lonely feeling.
We're bringing out the witch techno for taking one key ring and replacing it with another.
Though Beato had been borrowing my body, it was my own body that used magic. I could still feel that sensation in my hands. The keyring over there had danced along with the movements of my fingers. No, that's not quite it. The keyring and my fingers had danced together. That fun, that excitement, still tingled slightly in my hands.
And then Yasu had a career as a pickpocket. Whoops, that was close.
Saying this, Belne suddenly turned around and picked up the keyring she had thrown down on the bed. She must have realized that I was staring at it.
Almost had Yasu complain that I shouldn't leave keys lying about like this. I never put something down and then forget about it.
With a grin, she put the key back into her pocket. However, she still hadn't noticed. She probably couldn't even imagine that just a single key had vanished while her back was turned for a second.
See, what's interesting here is that Yasu was doing some of the work dramatizing just how long her back was turned for, as just a second.
Mm-hmm.
And also Belne is doing some of the work being like, there's no way I could have noticed. There's no way I wouldn't have noticed, right? There's no way that it could have escaped me. And both of them doing that work together is what allows this story to happen. Whether or not they're... Anyway.
It's not easy for a human to do things like that, but with magic, with just a little dance of the keys and a butterfly popping, it had disappeared.
Okay, fingertip inspection, bed okay, curtains okay. Tools, okay, and the keys too. See? Nothing wrong, right?
Yes, that's good. Then let's go on to the next room. Ah, Belne-san, could you lock up this room for me?
Huh? Sure.
Did Belne-san's key really disappear by magic? Was that fun magic just a daydream I had? I was so scared of that being true that I tested it.
Huh? Huh? What's wrong? Why are you taking so long? Huh? What? Huh? Wait, are you kidding me?
What's wrong?
It's not this one, and it isn't this one. Huh? What the? Also interesting that master key actually means a ring, a key ring.
And it seems like there's maybe a specific key on the ring.
Yeah, but like when servants have been talking about their master keys, what they've been actually referring to is a key ring.
Is that the case?
Yasu was talking about having their master key, but they're depicted as a ring of keys.
Yeah, so I figured it was a key on their key ring.
Oh, like one of them is a master key for the mansion, and then some of them are for other buildings. I see what you're getting at. Okay. What is it? Do you want me to lock it? I don't get it. What's going on? My master key is gone. My master key is just gone. Why? This ring is so stiff. There's no way to come off.
I could faintly feel that tingling sensation run across my fingers again. That night, as I gazed at the ceiling from the bed in my dorm room, I looked at my hands. I couldn't sleep. The excitement from the time those keys danced was still there in my fingers. Is this how Beatrice, how witches, always feel? I have a friend who's a witch called Beatrice. She always used to pull pranks on me with her strange magic. Because I saw this all the time, I thought I knew what magic was. But today, she had possessed my body and used magic with it. The sensation of magic that I finally felt at that time still held my heart entranced. It was a completely unknown pleasure. After all, by moving my fingertips, I could make the key dance as I wished. It was a strange, strange miracle of magic, something humans could not do. I still couldn't let go of that excitement. Shannon, are you awake?
And up.
What is it? Shannon was still awake. Shannon is always early to bed, early to rise. By getting to bed early, all of her weariness disappears by the next day. She lives a model life, one that all servants should respect and admire. If I want to become a loved, respected servant like Shannon, I'll need to act that way too.
Yep, the ideal version of themselves.
However, I wasn't confident that I could do that anymore. I guess I can't become like you after all. What do you mean? This is a bit abrupt. You were my ideal. Always. Yeah. Everyone in the Fukuin house loves you and is kind to you. Since you always played with me, you're the only friend I've ever had. And you're also a wonderful servant who can carry out any task in the Ushiromiya mansion, both flawlessly and gracefully.
Yeah, that sounds like Shannon, all right.
You were the target I longed to reach. That's what you were to me.
I think it's really telling that Yasu seems to have Shannon's personality as we see Shannon on the island. But Shannon, in Yasu's vision, is the ideal that they want to strive for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's give it our all together. As they say, perseverance prevails. Everyone will grow to acknowledge you more and more. So let's aim to become wonderful servants together. I'm gonna stop being a servant. Huh? Instead of a servant, I'd rather be a witch. What do you mean by witch? I did, and still do, wish I could be a servant loved and relied upon by everybody, but right now I want to be a witch, even more. Well, that's, huh? Shannon was confused. It was hardly surprising. All this about quitting as a servant was at least understandable, but she didn't know how to answer after hearing that her roommate wanted to become a witch. Buffy hadn't been invented yet, so it was pretty new territory.
Oh, specifically a Buffy witch, huh? Specifically a witch from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where witch has a very specific meaning and usage, huh?
A witch, Beatrice. You see, today Beatrice possessed me and used my body to do magic. That unknown world felt so thrilling. It was much more thrilling when I learned that I'd been selected as an Ushiromiya family servant. It was like learning about a new world, as though I'd been living in a world of darkness all my life, and thought I knew what the world was like, then finally learned what light was and saw the world for the first time. It was joy, excitement. Beato had only used my fingers, made a keyring dance, and turned a key into a butterfly before hiding it in a locker. But I'd understood it with my body. If I'd moved my fingers a different way, the ring could have flown into the air instead of just dancing, and I could have turned it into a scurrying lizard instead of a butterfly. I could have done anything. True, Beatrice's magical power was still weak. It had all happened in the little world behind the backs of the servants, who were filled with anti-magic toxin.
Is that the first example of anti-magic toxin in
Think so.
In this story? I see.
However, inside that tiny, short-lived world, I could do anything at all. Beato just happened to settle on making them dance and turning the key into a butterfly. But if she'd wanted to, she could have done anything else. The endless sensation of that free, unrestricted power. I could still feel it in my fingertips.
Sticky fingers.
Could it be that along with that sensation, a fragment of that magical power might also remain? I can tell. It's still there. There's still just a bit of it there, along with that sensation. I can do it. I can still do it. Ah! A single spot of golden light suddenly lit up in this dark room. It was right between my clasped hands. When I slowly opened them, I could see a single dot that sparkled gold. What is... Shannon didn't know what the light meant. How could light appear from the palm of my hands? And yet, even with this miracle right in front of her, she couldn't understand what it was.
The magic that had eluded her this entire time. The magic of a penlight.
She just sat there with her mouth open in disbelief. However, to me, this was just the return of that bit of sensation in my fingertips. The golden dot spread out and became a small gold butterfly. It flapped its wings and scattered gold sparks about like a cartoon fairy. To Shannon, it probably just looked as though a gold butterfly was flapping its wings. Of course, that alone was a miracle that she could hardly grasp. But to me, it was like a remote control plane in the shape of a butterfly. I could control that gold butterfly however I wanted. Not clumsily with threads. I could make it flap, dance, play through the air as I wished. I was taking a walk through the air as that little butterfly. The golden glint of it pierced the darkness of the small room as it danced about freely. It was an entrancing pleasure. However, that sensation in my fingers began to weaken. I could tell that the few magic butterfly scales left in my fingers were going away. Finally, the gold butterfly flashed and turned to dust like a firework run out of juice, falling down and disappearing without a trace. What on earth just happened? This is magic. It's really fun. Magic? Yeah, magic. There was still some magic left in my fingers, so I was able to use it. But if I became a real witch, I'll be able to use it whenever and however I want, to do anything. Now that I've learned how fun this can be, I don't want to go back to being human. Being a servant is just too boring, so I'm going to become a witch. Become a witch? Wait!
I'm surprised there hasn't been a stage magician yet whose shtick is being a witch.
What?
Like, whose shtick is just like, yeah, I'm a witch doing magic. Like a stage magician. And that's their shtick. Instead of just being like, hey, look, flashy stuff. Just like, yeah, I'm a witch. Gonna do magic now. And presenting it in that way. I don't know. Just, there's no point to that comment just occurring to me.
I've already made my decision, Shannon. It's been fun. I'll give you this room. You can use it by yourself. Later. Goodbye.
Yasu really said, fuck it, I'm gonna be a witch. Later. I'm out.
Wait! As Shannon called out repeatedly for me to wait, a massive planetarium swallowed me up. In the sea of the pitch-black, starry sky, I was alone. We are alone here. I'm done acting the part of the servant. I'm going to modify this world.
Yo, I'm back. What's up? Understood. In that case, what will you do?
Being a wonderful servant like Shannon wouldn't be bad, but now that I know how fun it is to be a witch, that feels like a boring dream. I can't go back anymore.
What'll happen to Shannon?
Shannon can just be Shannon and stay as a respected servant. She'll stay the same, but from now on it won't be the two of us together, but her alone.
Farewells are sudden. Is that not the phrase? Very well. Being fickle makes life more entertaining, huh? And what of you?
I want to become a witch. I want to become Beato.
But I'm already Beatrice.
You'll still be a witch and my friend. I'm modifying the world so that Beato is me.
So I'll be a witch who's a friend of Beatrice?
Pretty much. So from now on, you're a different witch.
Huh. Well, alright then. I understand. Then what'll be my new name?
I'll put that on hold until I can think of one. You'll be nameless for a while. Sorry about the trouble.
Not at all, not at all. This is my precious name we're talking about. You better take your time and think of something carefully about it, huh? It better not just become a one-off joke that gets driven into the ground because you're too lazy to give up the running gag at some point.
You've been Beatrice's friend since she was young and couldn't use magic yet. When we first met each other, you'd always hide my things and make fun of me.
I see. And when Beatrice finally learns the ways of magic, I become a friend on an equal footing with her. Perhaps that would make me sort of a big sister to you.
Yeah, that sounds nice. What are we going to do about how we talk?
Beatrice's voice is that of a woman of high station, right? Shall I give that to you as well?
Yeah. I'll inherit the way she talks.
Indeed, I comprehend. Or perhaps I shouldn't say it like that. I'll need to find a good way to sound like Beatrice's big sister witch friend.
Yeah. Or should it be... Indeed.
Now there's a nice dignified voice.
Okay, then how about... No, wait. Then what of my appearance?
Good point. I got a sort of blood red witch look going on here. Why not choose a different color for yourself?
When Beatrice wanders the mansion at night, she is often seen dressed in white.
Yeah, I suppose ghosts are classically white.
A witch in a white dress. Let's try putting it all together. I need a different look than the witch in the demon red dress. A white, noble witch. Unlike the time with the red witch, I'm thinking about my own look now, so I'd like to make it beautiful and cute if I can.
Oh, you would you? Oh, you would. I got some little blue pills with your name on them then, Yasu.
A white dress. A noble look. Like one of noble blood, but with a dark, sarcastic streak.
Does this describe anyone? The white dress in particular, I don't think describes anyone we've seen yet, aside from our reader here. But
yeah.
Our reader doesn't have a dark, sarcastic streak.
No, she's like a tomboy princess, so her voice is a mix of formality and rudeness.
Yeah.
Then the dress should be the exact opposite to make a nice contrast.
Never mind. I see where you've been hiding this whole time. Hey there, Beatrice.
Then what of this form? I'm making a smug face now. I've been practicing in the mirror for several days.
Yeah, give it a 6 out of 10. The ways
I'll
to go.
take it.
You tried developing a snaggletooth?
Is this the form of the new Beatrice? How beautiful! Just like a noble princess. I've taken a liking to this form. This will be quite satisfactory.
Not bad. You look great, Beato. Real glow up. Can't wait to see the before afters.
I like it. I truly do like this form.
If you can keep this up and give me a wonderful name, that'd be great. I have to go around nameless for too long. I'll get all sulky.
Fear not, I shall find you a splendid name.
And whatever you do, don't name it after like a big department store chain, all right?
No promises. But first, there is something I must consider. What shall be the form of my magic? Hiding objects and transporting them instantaneously is your theme, so I must think of my own particular theme of magic. Also, I got the snaggle teeth going.
Excellent. Wow, that was real fast.
Yeah.
Good job.
When I use magic, gold butterflies will flit about. I'm not backing down on that part.
God, this game is such gender.
Perfect. That'll make you a golden witch. The weakness such as spiderwebs in the sacred mirror and the shrine will also go to you.
Indeed. Even an all-powerful witch needs a few small weaknesses to keep things interesting. Then let us do it like so. If I touch a spiderweb, it will burn me.
It's weird hearing Yasu think this through like writing a fictional character, right? And like sorting out traits and stuff.
Original character do not steal.
OC, do not steal.
When you think about it, living a life is basically writing your own fan fiction.
Log off.
Silently, a silvery spider dropped down vertically. Beato, now in her new form, lightly touched the silver spider web that trailed out behind it. As she did, there was a faint sound of flesh burning, and a thin burn was left across her fingers. Beatrice can't stand spider webs. That was one of the weaknesses of the evil spirits Kumasawa-san spoke of. Since the witch Beatrice had revived thanks to the power of those evil spirits, she had also inherited their weaknesses. Therefore, sacred mirrors are another one of my weaknesses. However, that sacred mirror in the shrine isn't too likely to appear in front of me often. That's no fun. Then, while mirrors with sacred power will obviously be a weakness, let us make mirrors themselves a weakness too.
You often hear that mirrors have magical powers. Isn't that nice? Sounds just like a witch.
If I look at a mirror, it feels as though my magical power is being sucked out, so I shall try to avoid them. Indeed, that could be quite amusing. If I really think about it, I'm bad with mirrors whether I make that rule or not.
You don't say. You don't say. How's that?
No matter who I want or strive to be, the only face that will ever show in a mirror is the heartlessly pathetic and realistic face of Yasu. Mirrors which always force me to face my shabby reality are something I always want to avoid.
God damn it.
That's right, I hate mirrors. I don't want to see my pitiful self.
You don't need to decide everything all at once. It's fun to build up a world one little bit at a time, right?
True, I understand. I shall enjoy life as a witch as I slowly expand my world.
That tiny dark room is no place for you to sleep in now.
Indeed. I am the Golden Witch. I am the ruler of Rokkenjima's night, and the nighttime mansion belongs to me. That is where I should make my home, is it not? A room for Beatrice? Isn't it obvious? Yeah, that's right. That wonderful room on the second floor of the mansion. The VIP room of the witch just has to be Beatrice's room. Oh, that's right. From this evening forward, that room in the nighttime mansion shall be my dwelling place. Why didn't I think of that myself?
Then let's go, Beato. Time's wasting. If we're gonna drink tea together, we'll need a much better room than that cramped one.
Indeed, that room is too crude for entertaining friends and serving tea. We shall change rooms. Let us go, my friend.
So this is goodbye to Shannon, huh?
When I looked at my feet, I could see my own dorm room far beneath me. I could see Shannon, who had dashed up to the bed I lay on and been saying wait at the moment time froze. She was as rigid as a doll. Looking down at it from this height, it really did look like a small dollhouse. So long, Shannon. The days I spent as a human, with you as a goal and a constant comfort, were truly fun. If I had never learned the joys of magic and awakened as a witch, everything would doubtless have remained as it was. I was your only close friend too, wasn't I? Please forgive me for erasing that friend so suddenly. As a parting gift, I will erase me from your world. Starting now, this will not be a two-person room. It will be a single-person room with just you in it. I hope you continue to strive for your ideal and try to become a kind, reliable servant loved by everyone. Yasu, the stupid, clumsy servant who lost things all the time, doesn't exist anymore.
And now there is only Shannon.
I love this bit where it's like, oh, I'm going to change realities. This isn't a two-person room anymore, it's a one-person room. But it was clearly established that it's been a one-person room all along.
Right?
The idea that it was a two-person room was the fantasy, and that's what's being changed.
Yeah, those little tiny sleights of hand there with the I love it.
Yeah. So long, Shannon.
Anyway, reject gender, become witch.
When I mature as the witch Beatrice and stride through the nighttime mansion where I will, I may bump into you as you do your nighttime rounds. However, when I meet you again, it will not be as a reunion. It will be our first meeting. After all, though you have heard the rumors of the witch Beatrice, you have never met her. So long, Shannon. Let us meet again sometime and spin up some fun tale. Wait.
Anyway, you can just wake up one evening and decide, fuck this, I'm a witch now.
What was I doing? Was I talking in my sleep? Apparently I had gotten out of bed, stretched out my hand towards it, and said, wait. This isn't the first time I've woken up to find myself saying something strange, but I don't remember ever waking up to find myself out of bed and standing up. Could this be what they call sleepwalking? Am I just tired? Gotta sleep. Gotta get back to sleep. I turned around to face my bed. My bed wasn't there. There was no bed in this room except the one I had just turned my back on. If I'm the only one in this room and the only bed is the one behind me, that must mean it's my bed. That feels wrong for some reason. The bed sheets are all disarranged as though someone had slipped out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Who did? This is a single-person room with me in it, right? So that there is my bed, and the traces of someone crawling out mean that I was just sleeping there until a second ago? But for some reason, that bed doesn't feel like my bed. However, though all the other kids shared rooms, I, Shannon, was given a single-person room, so there's only one bed. And it must be mine. Am I just tired? I must just be half asleep. School starts early tomorrow morning, and when school ends, I want to go to the mansion, help out with some work, and talk to Kumasawa-san about the mystery novel I just read. Time to sleep. I'm probably just so worn out that I'm imagining things. Good night, Shannon. Just crawl in bed and close your eyes, and you won't have to think about anything complicated. I went back into my bed. It felt a bit uncomfortable to crawl into a bed that wasn't mine. Still, it might just be because I'm getting so sleepy, but it's starting to feel as though this is my bed after all. I'm just half asleep. I am Shannon, a lonely servant. I mess up from time to time, but I want to become a kind servant whom everyone loves. Good night, me.
Just waking up one day and deciding, no, actually, I am changing now. That's me. That's good shit. This is great. I fucking love this. God.
Oh, I am one, yet many. I've had enough of playing the servant. I've had enough of being human. From this night forth, I am Beatrice. The Golden Witch Beatrice, who has lived for 1,000 years. Praise me, servants. Have fear when you are chosen for the night shift. In the nighttime mansion, everything is mine, for that is my time. Oh, I am one, yet many. Yes, let our world swallow up everything. It is like the raging seas. Well now, let us drink the mysterious moon dry tonight, with this human book as a side dish. You call this a mystery? You call this a closed room? You call this a crime impossible for humans? Don't make me laugh. With all these holes and weak points, you call this a crime impossible for humans? Sitting there reading mystery novels, switching into the witch persona and being like, haha, I'm brilliant, I've solved this. My magic far surpasses these foolish human tricks.
Beato, you've been reading nothing but the cozy mystery section.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Oh, I love it.
Beatrice holed up in the cozy mystery section in Borders.
Reading some novel with a time like, oh god, I think of a good cozy novel title. It's got to have a really specific, because every cozy mystery, right, has the protagonist who has a weird, quirky job but solves crimes on the side, right? Oh A latte to bargain for about the barista who solves murders. There we go. Just or smuggling, cackling smugly to herself as she reads a mystery. Being like, haha, I'm so smart.
Is there no splendid closed room magic that can do my name justice? No, not here, not here. Not there either. All of them pathetic. It's enough to make one giggle, but now I'm not sure which is the side dish, the moon or the book. If I get tired of mystery, I can change myself into a butterfly. I can flit about the islands, the mansion, the vast forest at will. I'll follow those cowardly servants as they do their nighttime rounds. And when they check to see that a window is locked, they'll see me laughing at them in their reflection on the glass. I can be fickle and do as I please. Pranks at night should be a lot of fun. Okay, I've decided. Let's play like that starting tonight. Witch pranks. Starting now. How amusing. What amusement this night shall bring. In the world of witches, the only limits to your fun are the limits of your imagination. My imagination shall become the source of my magical power. Splendid, it shall all be so fun. I shall expand it infinitely and let it swallow the whole island. The island's night will be all mine. Oh, how refined and pleasant are the days of a witch. Oh, I am one, yet many. Here's to the wonderful world of witches.
I love this game so much.
Good stuff.
This game is so great.
Bored with your shitty job? Gaslight yourself into having a different identity that's much cooler. Worked for me for about 6 years, so I can't begrudge them.
I mean, that's the thing is that like it's becoming so much clearer now. Oh god, the gendery bits of it are just so fucking god. Oh, it hurts. I almost expected it to roll credits there because it was ramping up with it with the fucking credit music from the
Yeah, I actually was wondering if chapter 4 was going to be the end of episode 7, and if we were going to finish up this story here in episode 8, if they were going to do something like that and split it.
Or like in the tea parties or something. It just felt like it was ramping up for a credits roll with that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next time. I fucking love this game so much.
What a good fucking visual novel.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.